Thank you, Brian, and good afternoon, everyone. Really appreciate you joining us today on a very exciting announcement. I miss being with all of y'all in person and appreciate your indulgence of doing this via Zoom, but I look forward to more in-person opportunities here in the near future. Yesterday was the first day of spring practice, as you might know, for our football team, and this will be the start, which basically starts our 25th season, and it's a milestone that we plan to celebrate here throughout the entire year here at USF Athletics, and it just seems to be the appropriate time to provide an update on some ongoing efforts here as it relates to what I consider to be a milestone as it relates to the future of USF Athletics. Let me first say that I'm obviously keenly aware that there's been considerable time since the concept of some athletic facility improvements were first introduced before I was brought here as athletic director. They were all great concepts and a lot of great thoughts going into it for people before me and since. But since then, there's also been a lot of turnover here at USF. Since I arrived, obviously a new president, new head football coach, new foundation president, and most significantly, there's been a worldwide pandemic, which obviously stalled many things, but it mostly caused us all, I think, to reevaluate our priorities and our realities of what we're all dealing with. But Bulls are resilient, and and by we, I mean our entire administration at the university, athletics, coaches, and beyond, and of course our very faithful donors have remained focused on doing our very best for what we can provide for our student athletes. And after much thought and alignment over this time frame and during this pandemic, I'm pleased today to offer a revised vision and a timeline, in essence, for the first time. Many of you that I know that are on here and will note and certainly know firsthand that I've never before provided a specific timeline about what we'll do. And I think you should take my confidence level of achieving this and having this session today to just see how very confident I am in our plan and our progress. So here's the game plan. We still have all the same visions that we've had for our facilities that have ever been shared with you, but we're now going to work in phases. And today I want to share with you the details regarding phase one, and that's what we're here to discuss. And that's primarily going to be renovations to the Leroy Selmon Athletic Center and the construction of an indoor performance facility here at USF. Let me start first with the Leroy Selmon Athletic Center. For those of you familiar, it was constructed back in 2004. So this will be the first major renovation that we've had to the facility, at least as it relates to our football areas. We're going to spend $3 million on this part of phase one, and it will include comprehensive and cohesive experiential branding for our facility. It'll make enhancements to the team meeting room, a meeting room that all of us in that USF Athletics use, I might add, and a total renovation and the locker room, and to create not only a better facility for our student athletes, but also a lounge space, new nutrition area, and everything that our football team needs in our existing facility for the time being. We will start this process soon after spring practice is over. So we're planning to play our spring game on March 27th. We're going to shortly thereafter start this renovation with the idea that we're going to have everything done. So when our student athletes get ready for summer camp here in late July, early August, that they'll be moving in to a new aspect of the Leroy Selmon Athletic Center. So we're excited to make those very immediate improvements to get ready for this upcoming football season. You can get a feel for these renovations. I'm sure Brian will share with them later, but we've already posted a great video fly through on our USF football social media platform. So very exciting, very awesome things that Coach Scott will speak to in a little bit. The other part of phase one, as I mentioned, will be the indoor performance facility, a full construction of an indoor center. This will be constructed on the site of our existing athletics turf field, which is just to the west of Sycamore Drive, for those of you that are familiar with our campus. We're going to spend $22 million on this part of phase one to complete the facility. The architect is HOK, the construction manager is RR Simmons, and these two have been working with us for months now to get behind the scenes planning to be able to launch forward and make this happen. It'll be an 88,000 square foot facility. It'll encapsulate an entire football field, be climate controlled, and has a wonderful lobby and observation deck. It'll be used obviously for football, for all of our athletic teams, for practice and for performance training. When I look out my window right now at Leroy Selmon, you see different teams out there all the time, and knowing that they're going to be inside of the indoor performance facility very soon is very exciting to me. The plan will also be to be able to host other athletic events, other university events, foundation events, and the like, because quite frankly, our campus can really use another venue of this magnitude, and it'll be a huge asset to our campus, and we're excited about that as well. So our timeline for this facility, this part of phase one, is to start construction by the end of this summer. That'll have the expectation for us to have it in place so that when our student athletes come back in time for the summer of 2022, they'll be moving into the new indoor performance facility at their disposal. So you can get a feel for this facility. You've seen some renderings on our USF Athletics platform, but again, very excited about this. A reminder that all aspects of this phase one, as has always been the plan, are funded from private philanthropy. And so we're very appreciative of the donors that have stepped up and supported us on this ongoing capital campaign that have helped make this phase one come to fruition and be able to share these level of details with you. So that's really the news that's fit the print from my perspective today. As I've said many times during this pandemic began, we had a focus not only to endure the hard times that all of us are dealing with right now, but position ourselves to emerge from it with renewed vision, energy, momentum, and to truly come charging out of it like bulls, coming out with full momentum and ready to take on a great new future for USF Athletics. And I think that this exciting news surrounding phase one does exactly that. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Coach Scott now to share some of his thoughts and observations about what we've got forthcoming in the coming months. Again, very exciting to know that we're going to start renovations almost immediately on Leroy Selmon and to begin construction of the indoor performance facility this summer. So, Coach.
All right. Thank you, Michael. This is obviously a very exciting time for us to start spring practice yesterday, and then also to be talking about our new facilities moving forward. I think it's a time of great momentum right now within our football program and our athletic department. And, I would just say, just as far as my experience with this, whenever Michael and President Corral came up to visit with me in December of 19, over a year ago, one of the questions that I had was just about the facilities and the plans for facilities in the future. And I could tell very quickly in that conversation that both President Corral and Michael Kelly were committed to seeing these projects through. And I just really feel like this is a new day for the University of South Florida, not just for the football program, not just for athletics, but really overall for the entire university. In my experience here over the last year, I've been able to see a new alignment in leadership and vision that gets me really excited, because the last institution that I came from that has made a lot of progress over the last 12 years, a big part of that is because of the alignment in the leadership there at the university within athletics, within the football program. And so that's probably one of the things that has me most excited right now about us moving forward. And I feel like that's a reason that one of the reasons we're in this position today. So I can't thank Dr. Corral enough, not just for, approving a project, but being 100% committed to this. And there's been hours and hours, probably close to 100 hours already in meetings over the last 6 to 8 months among a lot of our leadership to have something like this be ready to be built and take place. It takes, that's one thing I've learned. It takes a lot of pre-planning. There's a lot of people that are involved. And that doesn't happen, especially during a pandemic with everything that's going on, if it's not a priority. And to be honest, from day one, it's been a priority for Dr. Corral, for Michael Kelly, Lalo Prada and his staff of the Bulls Club, Jay Stroman, our new, president of the foundation. He's been a big part of this as well, moving this forward. And so I'm very excited about that. And then also want to thank so many of our donors that have made huge financial commitments for something like this to take place. And, there's no doubt this is going to be a game changer for us to be able to have, starting off, to be able to have some new areas here in the Leroy Selmon Athletic Center to completely, redo our locker room and make it one of the best in the country. Our players are very excited. We shared the images with them on Monday, and our team room to really be able to upgrade that to one of the best in the country. And then for the indoor performance facility, I believe it's going to be one of the best in the country. I've experienced the impact that can have on your program and the functionality of how you practice. And it's not just practice during the season or practice during the spring. I mean, these guys are training every day, year round. And to be able to have a controlled environment, no matter what the weather is, no matter what the conditions are, if it rained the night before and your fields are wet, to know that you have a safe place that these guys can go in and train year round, I think is going to be a huge, positive for our program. And I think also this is making a statement. And I feel like we needed to make a statement to show that, hey, we're committed to excellence in everything that we do. And I think this leadership that we have here at the university, I experience it every day because I'm on a lot of meetings behind the scenes and seeing, the vision, the energy that our leadership has in moving forward and taking action. It gets me really excited. And I feel like, a project like this is going to create a lot of momentum. And I think it's going to lead to other projects and other things here over the next few years as well. So, I'm very pleased and very excited and feel very fortunate to be at a place that really is supporting myself, our program, our coaching staff, and our players. I really feel like this is a great opportunity for us to really build on some good momentum here these next few years. So with that, I'll open it up maybe for any questions.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Just a reminder to everyone, raise your hand if you have a question, and please unmute yourself when I call on you. If you could also please identify yourself today. We do have several, about 30 members of the media on here. If you can identify yourself and then also identify who you are directing your question to, that would be very helpful. We'll start with Chris Torello. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey guys, this is for both of you. I know that, sorry, I got screaming fans behind me. The timeline of the pandemic that kind of made this frustrating because so many fans wanted this to get done. And then also, Coach, I've seen you on Twitter with, even the smaller donors. There's been a movement among people on Twitter. What does that mean to have that type of momentum as well? So for both of you, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Certainly, I'll start. Obviously, the momentum that we see and the passion we see from our fans, whether they're providing $1 or $5 million, is needed. It's necessary. It's heartfelt. I've long said that we've been around now for 25 years with the football program, and we've accomplished a lot of things. But our vision is robust, and we've got a lot of great plans for the future. But it's going to take all of us. It's going to take all of us to provide. There's no real secret out there that success in college athletics is often correlative to the investments made by the institution and by the private donors that are out there. So I sense that momentum. I sense the passion about what people want, and this is a great step in that direction. To your comment about the pandemic, it obviously it stalled a lot of things for us. It's hard to raise money. It's hard for people to give during a pandemic when you've got to evaluate your priorities. And what it really did, besides get us time to get our different plans aligned and figured out, so to speak, it mainly caused us to say we can't. This is a critical time for USF. It's a pivotal time in collegiate athletics, and I wanted to show the momentum coming out of this athletic department, as I mentioned earlier, that we're charging forward. We're positioning ourselves to reach even higher heights, and all those things are why we've made the plan that we have that we shared with you today. And we're very proud of it. We're excited about what we've done with this time frame to make the most of it and to really come charging out of it.
Yeah, and I would just add, I agree with all that. The thing I would add is one thing that we talked about early on, really, whenever I got here in January, Michael called a meeting with several people and myself just to kind of update me on a lot of the things that have been talked about in different parts of this project. And something that we talked about early on, it was important to me is, I want us to do it right the first time. And so if that takes a little bit longer to go hire a professional architectural firm and those type of things. And it was very clear to all of us involved that, yes, it's been a little while since this project maybe got talked about or was initially discussed and announced, but it's going to be really important for us to do it right. And I believe, hey, best is the standard, and I wanted to see the very best that South Florida can show these student athletes and this community. And I feel very firmly that this team has done that.
Kevin O'Donnell.
Yeah, it was Kevin for Brian first. Brian, I think initially this project was supposed to be a $40 million project. Can you kind of share the adjustments you might have made to decide to go with phase one first, and what other phases will follow? And then for Jeff afterwards, really, what is this going to do for the recruitment for you guys?
Michael, you want to go ahead?
Certainly. Sure, Kevin. When it was first conceptually identified, it was obviously a combination of both football operations building and the indoor performance facility. What we've figured out and realized is, for all the reasons I said earlier in this session, is that we couldn't wait any longer. We didn't want to, coming out of the delay that the pandemic caused and everything we wanted to raise, we have this secured now and ready for us to go on this timeline. And that's what we wanted to do. We still, as I said at the outset, our visions of what we want to accomplish are still there. Phase two will still include the various things that we anticipate and have planned for our football operations building in the future. We're identifying and have identified where our site for that will be. But we just knew it was practical now to make the immediate adjustments to Selmon, and then obviously make the indoor performance center a reality. And that came with a lot of consultation, frankly, with Coach Scott and what he felt was most immediately necessary for our program right now. So I'll let him speak to the follow-up question you had.
Sure. From recruiting, we've been using this in recruiting probably for the last couple months, just some of the general pictures and talking about it. And it has a huge impact on recruiting, because, it's often been said that, people buy with their eyes, right? They want to see things, and they want to see a commitment. And again, I experienced that at the previous institution where I was, where maybe when we didn't have facilities and other people did, it made a big difference. And, I think it sends a message as these recruits, the high school coaches, just the people around this state see that, we're making a commitment to building some new facilities. There's a renewed energy, excitement, and it truly just shows a commitment to, building a championship program. And players want to be a part of something that is alive, that is new, that is moving, that is adding things. And so there's no doubt we've gotten huge reviews. We've kind of had to, get the recruits and families to promise not to discuss this until we could announce it all publicly. But we've been using some of those images and videos with the recruits here over the last 2 months. And it's been an outstanding response so far, as you can imagine.
Will Turner.
My question's for Coach Scott, kind of piggybacking off the recruiting aspect, when you look at the models that you guys released yesterday, I saw a little bit of stuff tailored towards recruits. What specifically, have you guys included in that Leroy Selmon improvements for the recruiting experience?
Well, one thing that I believe in recruiting is you recruit really well when your current players enjoy their experience, their daily experience. Because one thing a recruit's going to do, whether they come on campus or whether they just send the players a DM message or something, they're going to talk to your current players. So they're going to say, all right, how is it? You tell me how it is. And so I've always believed that your best recruiters are your current players. And I tell our staff that all the time. And that's really who, if these guys are being treated the right way and they're having a professional experience and a great experience, then that is just they're going to take that back to their high schools. They're going to spread the word. And so the first thing is, it's easy to look at these facilities and say, hey, it is for recruiting. And there's no doubt it's going to have a big impact on recruiting. But for me, I'm excited about these projects and the timeline that we're going to be able to get this done, talking about all these improvements we're going to be able to do, which are really nice improvements, here in the Leroy Selmon Athletic Center. And we're planning to get that done, before the fall coming up. So, there's just something different for your current players when they walk into a team room that is really, really nice and put together and very professional. All of a sudden the guys sit up a little bit straighter. They start listening a little bit more because there's a professional environment that they're learning in. And, so the locker room, I think, is going to be incredible. I mean, state of the art. I mean, you've seen some of the other locker rooms that people have done in the past. And, we really spent a lot of time with some of the top design firms and working with that, and had some input from our current players on that. And really what your current players like, that's what recruits are going to like, and they're going to be able to see. And then again, being able to have a special area just for our players to spend time together, whether it's, playing video games, watching TV, being able to sit down and eat, and, just spend time together. We're trying to build, a culture of a family environment where guys, really get to know their teammates. They don't just go to the workouts, go shower, and go back to their apartment and move on with their day. And so it has a lot of space for that. And then there's also some recruiting pieces that you probably have seen in the film, a recruiting area lounge where we're going to be able to show some different videos and things like that that we have, just to be able to share the experience. We have a lot to sell here at South Florida, being in Tampa Bay with all the things that are going on, and to be able to just have a little bit more of a professional look to it, and be able to organize all of that into a way that really will make a strong impression to these families. At the end of the day, I don't want any player or family to make a final decision based off facilities. They really should be making a final decision based off the people. I've told people all the time, you could go to the Ritz-Carlton and, to have a vacation, but if the people there treated you really bad, talk to you really bad, it doesn't matter how soft the pillow is, you're not going back, right? So at the end of the day, I hope that people are making decisions based off the education that we can offer, the experience we can offer, and the people they're going to be around every day. But facilities, they make a statement, and the statement is athletics important here, right? Are you doing things? Are you progressing? Are you investing in your program and in your athletic department? And I think this really makes a very strong statement to that question. And I think that's something that the recruits, I think it's really a big box that needs to be checked for some of these top recruits that we're targeting right now.
And one quick follow-up, you mentioned it being state of the art. Where does this facility that you have planned kind of rank among some of the other universities that you've been around?
Yeah. What I would say is I've gotten this question a little bit from recruits. Whenever you're one of the last people to build you're going to be the newest person to build an indoor facility, then you have a chance to make it the best one, right? Because every time that you do it, you can take pieces of different facilities that you've seen, some of the best pieces, and do it. So my expectation is that, this indoor performance facility is going to be the best in the state of Florida and one of the best in the country. That's really the lens that we've been looking through as we've been designing this. And again, that's why I'm so pleased with our administration, our donors, because they've really stepped up to really give us, it's not just, hey, let's just kind of build you something and, put a tin roof over it. It's really, how can we make this the best and really make it the best for our student athletes, and really have something that everybody here around the university can use and enjoy, and, really be a shining piece for us here as we charge forward these next few years.
Matt Baker.
Hey, Michael, I want to clarify something you said a second ago. So the expectation or the plan is still to build a football operations building. That's just later down the road. Is that right?
That's correct, Matt. We still, our phase 2 will encapsulate when we continue to build that portion of our vision. But again, as I mentioned, for right now, the urgency of wanting to make something for the here and now for our current student athletes, particularly coming out of the pandemic, became that much more important. And that's why we revised the plan to make it go in phases. So this is phase 1. Phase 2 will be forthcoming.
Okay, gotcha. Just want to make sure I had that right. And Michael, you touched on this as well, but obviously this has been in the works for a long time, since before either of you got here. how much of a relief is it that something is happening here in the next couple weeks?
Oh, it's great. I mean, I'm grateful for everyone that had the vision and the concept for it to begin with. It's very understandable why we are where we are right now. It is completely privately funded. There's logic to some turnover that's happened here and the adjustments that it became necessary out of a pandemic. So it's probably only caused us, to Jeff's point, to really dig into it deeper, to really think through it both for immediacy and for long term, and probably made us develop a better plan. So all told, I'm appreciative for every single person that's been involved in this from the very beginning. It's helped us get better. And as Jeff said, we're going to deliver exactly what we need for the now and for the future.
Chris Vanini.
Yeah, for Jeff, I know it's kind of been a weird year, so having practices and stuff like that's been different, but we all know the weather in Florida. I mean, how much is simply just having this going to help you from losing practices? Or, I mean, even at other places you've been, have there been situations where you missed practice time because you guys couldn't go inside anywhere?
Yeah, that's a huge piece of it to know. And really, our football players, their day is really filled up. I mean, it's complete. So we really get them from about 8 until 11 a.m. We're a morning block team. So if we have some weather that comes through, they have classes, they have tutoring in the afternoon. It's not like we can just, postpone practice and say, let's come back at 3 o'clock. And so you really get your window. And so when you're in the season and it's a Wednesday of game week, and that's where you're going to cover your third down, that's where you're going to cover red zone. That's a big day for you, for your game planning. And, due to the weather, you have to go inside. And we had that happen a couple of times and maybe just do a walkthrough, on the floor of a gym or something like that. That's putting you at a disadvantage for sure. And so it was important that we could have a place that we could always know that we're going to be able to get a complete full practice in and not have to sit here and watch. I probably spent more time this past year looking at the Weather Channel than I have in any years past. But also the thing that I think sometimes people miss out on in this is that, when you compare the amount of practices that we do throughout a year to the amount of outside workouts that our players do in the strength and conditioning, it's probably 3 to 1 that they're out there. Just to Michael's point from earlier, where he's looking out his window and seeing guys out there running, working out, doing all the drills with our strength staff. And so that also hurts you when maybe on Tuesday and Thursday of one week, it was raining. You couldn't go outside and do your speed work because of the fields or whatever. And, that all that stuff adds up. And so to have a place that you're guaranteed a safe, controllable environment, no matter about the weather, definitely is a huge part of this, and will allow us not to have to have any concerns of that throughout the year.
Jeff, another compelling point that you might elaborate on is the fact that you use it every day. You made a compelling story to me about flex and everything else that you've experienced even elsewhere before you had an indoor facility there.
Yeah, obviously the last place where I was, we got an indoor facility while I was there in about year 4 of my 12 years there. And at first, when we got it, I thought, well, it's going to be there for whenever it rains, you go inside and use it. And then when we got it, it was so nice. What we decided to do and what my plans are here is every day that we practice, that's where we'll start. So there's about 25 minutes of walkthroughs and meetings on the field and flex and warm-ups and everything that you have to do before you truly start a practice. And so to be able to do that inside in kind of that controlled environment, it starts your practice off the right way. And so that's what we've done in the past where I was. And so we'll do all of our pre-practice work in there every day. And we'll do our flex in there every day. And then, the majority of the time we have good weather, we'll come right out those big doors and go out there and practice. And, and then there may be times during the season where we want to do a 2-minute drill with noise, crowd noise. We're getting ready. Hopefully we're going to be getting to play some games with some crowd noise coming up here over the next couple of years, get back to having some fans in the stands. But man, you can go in there, you shut the doors, you turn the music up, and, there's 1:40 on the clock up there. And so you can kind of create some different environments. But we're going to use it a lot more than just practice days where it's raining. And then also you start thinking about summer camps. That's another time when you have recruits and prospects on campus to be able to go in there and train. And then there's also times, times have changed as coaches. I think maybe 15, 20 years ago, you were going to be outside and no matter what, it was just, strain the guys as much as you can. And now there's a lot of sports science involved. And, we have the GPS that the guys wear. And so there may be certain times throughout fall camp, there may be certain times in the year where maybe you're going to be doing a lot of running and it's 2 days before the game and it's 100 degrees outside. And you say, hey, we're going to go ahead and practice inside today. Just take a little bit of that off of them so we can get a nice crisp practice. And so, we, in the previous place where I was, we used it probably 5 times as much as we thought we would before we ever got it. And I fully expect that's going to be the case here, not just with football, but with some of the other sports that'll have access to it as well.
I appreciate it.
Gabrielle Shirley.
Hi, Coach. Hi, Michael. This question is for Coach Scott. Can you tell me, I'm sure the current players were kept up to speed on the developments of this indoor facility, but when you made the official announcement to them, did they give you the floor because they were so interested? Did they break out in a round of applause? What was their reaction? What was so memorable about that for you?
Yeah, they were excited. I've been talking about this. One thing that I believe is to try to keep your players informed on what's going on as much as you can. And really, I've been kind of sending the message that, hey, where we are right now in our football program and maybe having a disappointing season last year and to get to where we need to go, right? We have to have a lot of things going on. We got to show improvements in a lot of different areas. And our players and our coaches, our job right now is to improve, what we're doing on the field, when we're in the weight room, when we're on the practice field, and improve that. And I also said, hey, we've got an administration, they're working extremely hard, to be able to make some big time improvements as well. And so I've kept them kind of updated on that, and they've been excited about that. But Monday was when we were able to officially announce the timeline of what we were doing. And I actually called Michael and asked him if he would come over and do that because I wanted our players to be able to hear from him because he has been a big part of that. And I mean, just again, I want to make this point. I've got a lot of friends that are in the coaching profession, a lot of coaches that have been first-time head coaches, go into programs where you need to show some improvements. And, the easy thing is maybe for your athletic director or president to kind of sell you on a few things to get you to come. And then you get there and reality is, the chance of getting new facilities and stuff like that, are very, very difficult. And so I've, just very appreciative. What I believe, this is another thing I believe. I don't believe that you win and then you go get the facilities because you win and you want to keep your coach or whatever. No, it all happens together, right? It's everything working together. And again, I saw that and witnessed that at the previous school where I was. The new facility that we built, we were trying to figure out what are we going to put in the lobby. And literally, we won the national championship a week before we moved in. And literally, they came and put the trophy right there in the lobby. And it's kind of like the last thing on the top of the Christmas tree. And it's just a great image of, you build things together. You have you develop a championship culture, a championship roster, and then also you start adding championship facilities. And all of that happens before you actually win championships. That's the reality of it. So I've wanted our players to feel the commitment that our administration has to helping them and helping our program. And also to let our guys know, hey, we have to do our part too. Facilities aren't going to win games, right? We got to do our part too. And it's taken everybody to do that. But that is the momentum that I feel within our program, within our university. I feel like these next 3, 4, 5 years are really going to be an opportunity for us to take a big step. But they're very excited, as you can imagine.
Leo Haggerty.
The question is for both of you, but Mike first. Some of us can remember the Kansas game where there were 60,000 plus at Raymond James. The fact that happened, did that help with raising money for these projects? And Coach, does that help when you're recruiting to say, hey, look, this has already happened. It's not something that we have to try to get to happen?
Sure, Leo. I mean, obviously, Coach Scott coined the phrase United start to finish last year. And the reason he kept the numeral 2 in there was because we've risen as a program to number 2 before. But you also, and while we have immediacy, I mean, we won 150 games faster than any program in the state of Florida. We've obviously been competitive many years, gone to 10 bowl games. So a lot of great success. But when you see and get a taste of what you can see before and know what the opportunity is right now with going out to win the American, going out to challenge for a bigger bowl berth. And I'm very excited, quite frankly, about the prospects of the college football playoff expanding in the future. And so the scheduling we're doing, the facilities we're doing, everything we're doing is within the line of where we want to be. And so, yeah, having a taste of what we've had before is great, but it's really a matter of preparing for the future.
Yeah, and what I would say, is that, we've seen before that this community will support South Florida athletics and our football program, right? But they want to support a winner, right? And my goal that, I shared with Michael and with President Corral is my goal is to build a program that can have sustainable success, where it's not just one, good year and then a really bad year, and then 2 years later, another good year. In order to really get the buy-in from our community and from our fans, we have to have consistency. I think you got to have consistency in your program, and you got to have consistency in winning games. And then also you have to have some big premier games that they want to come out and see. And I think for our schedule next year, having the University of Florida come over here and play us in Tampa, I'm really hoping that the COVID protocols and safety and all that allow for us to be able to have fans and a lot of fans in the stands, because I think we're going to have that opportunity. And what I'm telling our players is, hey, we're going to have our opportunity to show the people in this Bay Area that they would be excited to come out and support us. But we have to be ready when that opportunity is here. We have to be ready. And so this is our time right now to kind of go under in the submarine, if you will, and really improve as a roster and as a football team. And, we go out and start having success on the field. I have no doubt. I mean, you can see many examples here with the Bucks. You can see Tampa Bay Lightning. There's a lot of examples. You can see what's happened here in the past with our program. And, to follow up with what Michael said earlier, I'm a big believer that anything that's happened once can happen again. You can't just sit and stare at maybe the last 3, 4, 5 years. You really have to look at the potential of what's ahead of us. And that was one of the things that attracted me to Tampa Bay and to University of South Florida, was the potential that we're the only college football team, here in Tampa, a place that loves their sports. And there's definitely room for a college football team to be supported in a big way. And I have a big vision and dream of that happening here in the near future.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Mark Schreiner.
Yeah, this is for Michael. Michael, I hate to be that guy, but a lot of fans are going to look at this and say, this is great. What about an on-campus stadium? What would you say to them about that? And what would you say to them to maybe reassure them that this is taking being a part of the road to an on-campus stadium eventually?
Yeah, very fair question, Mark. And certainly I get it a lot. And an on-campus stadium is undoubtedly something that's a wonderful thing, and something that we have visions for. Dr. Genshaft commissioned a study about the realities and cost of what that would mean for us before I even got here. So I have all the information. I believe in it, but I also feel it's my job to prioritize the steps by which we move to that, both from a aspirational standpoint and a reality standpoint. And the bottom line is right now that we feel what we're announcing here today in phase 1 is the absolute right and necessary next step for us to take. We'll continue to evaluate what else we need to do as it relates to the sport of football for phase 2. You got to remember, we're also looking at other facilities that we need to enhance and make better for all of our athletic department teams. But long story short, I believe in an on-campus stadium. I think it's great, but it's just not the next step in our evolution. And in the meantime, we're going to play at an amazing stadium in Raymond James. We've seen, I love it that we can promote that we've in a stadium that we've had success in, that the world champions now play in, that has hosted 3 Super Bowls, it's hosted a CFP. Not many folks can say that. And I mean, for us to have the great LED lights, unbelievable scoreboards, unbelievable ribbon boards, there's been more invested in that facility that we didn't pay a dime for than the facility would cost as a whole, if we build an on-campus stadium. So we've got to remember to be grateful for what we have now. But I don't want that that doesn't mean we're not aspirational for the future when it all fits in right. And frankly, when we can raise the money to do it, because that's going to have to be a privately fundraised thing as well. And so it's a goal, but these are the right steps for us in the right here and the right now, Mark.
Kelly Quinlan.
For both of you guys, Michael and Jeff, it's an arms race in college football, and obviously that's constantly showing improvement and investment is important. How important is it now that you're in this kind of early building blocks of Coach Scott and Coach and Michael Kelly, your administration here? How important is it that you're building this up and showing these phases and growth, and that there actually is an investment in USF athletics?
Well, I think it's vital, and I think phase 1 obviously shows a great commitment to our not only our football program but our athletic department as a whole. We have a vision for comprehensive excellence. We've got many of our teams either in the top 25 or on the border. We've got a great vision and steps and plans for our football program, and it all goes hand in hand. But as Jeff said before, we've got to be able to give our student athletes the tools that they need to be able to improve themselves, to train, and to ultimately compete, to be able to challenge for conference championships and ultimately national championships. So we're doing that. We continue to evaluate and listen to what our programs need. And then it's my job to prioritize them and put us in the best position and the most realistic position we can as fast as we can possibly get there. So to me, this is a great step forward. And again, as I opened the statement at 12 o'clock today, this is another milestone moment in the history of USF athletics, and there's many more to come.
Yeah, and what I would say is there's power in momentum. I've seen that firsthand, again, in my previous experiences where it started with an indoor, and then it came with a football facility, and then, a lot of success followed after that. I believe there's a lot of potential donors here in this area and supporters of South Florida. And, a lot of them, they want to see progress before they're willing to invest a little bit. And that's why I really appreciate the donors that have given to this project ahead of time to allow us to get something off the ground. But I think whenever this goes up and there's a lot of people that are going to be watching us, it's going to create some momentum, and it's going to allow us to raise more money for some of the other phases that we have ahead of us. And I love the phase approach. Rather than waiting, a couple more years before we could maybe do everything together, I think, and I think Michael and President Crow, everybody felt like it's important to take action now and to show the progress that we're going to make, and then continue to build and add on to those when appropriate. And then also, whenever you're showing new facilities and you're able to maybe raise up the level of recruits that are coming into your program, that means you're going to win a little bit more, and that's going to bring more fans to the stands, more people engaged. And again, you just start, kind of rising with the tide, if you will. And I believe this is really a first step for us, because, when we moved in Leroy Selmon Athletic Center back in 2004, that was a really big step for our program, for the athletic department, but it's been a few years. It's time now for us to continue to take some new steps. And I think with the leadership that we have in place, there's a plan for that. And, I think that's the biggest thing I want everybody to take from this. My goal is, yes, we're going to get some really nice facilities that are very much needed right now, but there's action taking place. And this won't be the last action taking place here over the next few years. This is just something that's going to continue to build momentum as our programs continue to increase.
Nathan Bond.
It's for Michael and Jeff as well. You both have harped on the alignment between both of yourselves and Dr. Corral, and that, in the past had not been, a three-headed monster kind of tackling this sort of project. How important and vital was it that all three of you were on the same page to get this done through a pandemic, through everything else that's kind of gone on at the university over the last year or so?
Nathan, obviously, I think alignment at all levels is essential in any successful organization, no matter what. And the university is no different. And to have the alignment that Jeff mentioned before and I mentioned before, to have dialogue and thought and common, just a common vision as it relates to Jeff and Dr. Corral and myself is perfect timing and was the right use of time over this pandemic to make sure we get it right, evaluate what we need now, what has changed because of a pandemic that we need to adjust, and what's changed in the college football or the college athletics landscape. And when you put all that together, that's where I feel we've emerged with the right plan under the circumstances, and one that I'm very excited about.
Yeah, and I would just follow up and say it's a very competitive marketplace out there right now in college athletics. Just the environment. I mean, there's a lot going on, and so in order to compete, you truly have to have that alignment. Again, as I say, I talk to a lot of friends that are in the coaching profession, and you're looking at coaches that maybe go into programs that need to improve, and some have success and some don't. One common factor in the successful rise of certain programs is when there is alignment among the leadership in your university, and really just a common purpose and belief in what we're doing and with the vision of what we're doing. And I think, just something like this, it's hard to, take a project like this all the way through if you don't have everybody on the same page and believe in the project and what we're doing. And so that got me really excited once Michael and I visited back in January and kind of discussed some of the thoughts of this. And we went and met with Dr. Corral and presented some things to him. His first words were, "Absolutely, we're going to do this." And I mean, that just got me fired up. And from that point forward, even that was before the pandemic hit, and then all the way through, appropriately so, and timing and all those type of things. I've seen a commitment, not just about the facilities, really, it's the everyday things that are going on to make sure that we're putting our young men in the best position that we can to earn their degree and also be able to compete at a championship level. So I am very, very pleased and excited about the leadership that we have here. And I can't speak for anything in the past. All I can tell you is what we have right now is uncommon, in my opinion. There's very few programs out there that have a strong alignment in the leadership all the way down. And so we're going to definitely maximize this while we have it right now.